Okay, welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone. So, joined this week by Lee, who's returning as always. But we're also joined by a very special guest. So I've got James with us. So, or I don't know how you refer to yourself in your world of sport. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Everyone knows me as James, but outside of all things football and wrestling, it's superstar Jimmy Taylor.
So James is joining us. He is part of Karnage, I believe, Karnage Wrestling Group.
Yeah, so outside of the day job and all things Swansea City, I'm a professional wrestler as well. You can see me on Welsh Wrestling. They'll tour all parts of Wales and the UK. And then a new promotion has just come out called Pro Wrestling Karnage. We just finished up our second show on Saturday in Pencoed. And on the 13th of this month, we're going to be in Peterborough as well. So get your tickets. I'm sure we'll put a couple of links on after the end of this podcast. But it'd be great to meet some people that may have a mutual interest, not just in football, but in wrestling as well. So that's why I'm on you with you guys.
Yeah, so send me the links afterwards. I'll chuck them in the video. If you're watching on Spotify as well, I'll put them on Twitter at some point, but you'll be able to find them.
No problem.
But yeah, James obviously is a Swans fan. A little bit of cross-sport sort of interest here, so it'll be good to get him on and give his views on, well, Swansea, I guess. And you can also talk a little bit of his wrestling a bit later on, perhaps at the end, and what's going on there, because I believe he's you just smashed someone up the other day, didn't you, in one of your matches?
Yeah, I'm on a roll at the minute. I beat the brilliant James Ellis on Saturday in Pencoed. He's a big Swansea fan as well. I'm sure he's a bit jealous that he's not actually on SwansCast today. So, you know, if you have a potential guest in the future, I'm sure you'll want to come on, talk all things football, and talk about how much he hates me. But
tell him he'll have to beat you in a rematch.
And he didn't. He's got to earn that rematch as well. But I'm sure our paths will cross in the near future. And I'm sure
calling him out on the SwansCast. Look, here's the beat right here. Just get that clip.
I want to make an example out of him.
I want a video reply. We'll put it in the video next week.
I'm sure there'll be an open invite for him in the weeks to come. I'm sure he'll be dying to get on to talk about his side of the story about what happened on Saturday.
Anyway, so obviously you said you support the Swans. We could see your Swans top. You were in the lovely yellow one from last season. But what actually made you a Swans fan? Why do you support the Swans? Where did that all begin?
Well, I live around the corner from the Vetch, so it's pretty much been in my blood since day one. So I think that's the ins and outs of it. But like you said, for all of us all growing up in the schoolyard, we're all football mad growing up. Yeah. And, we've followed them for years. I've had season tickets for a good couple of years on and off. And, it's in the community, it's in the town. Everyone in Swansea is mad for Swansea City football team. And you get brought up with that from day one. Yeah.
Well, it'd be good to hear your opinions today, because it's been another good week, actually, to be a Swansea fan. It's been like a little bit of an uptrend all season. You started down here, and it's just gone up. Hopefully it continues in that sort of way. But before we start then, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you do like what we're talking about. Click that big red button. We're trying to get to 500, so we're getting quite close now to that goal. And don't forget to like as well, because it tells YouTube you like what we're doing and shows more people our content. Obviously, if you're on Spotify, appreciate you continuing to listen. And if you want to engage with us, we're most active on Twitter, where you can find us at SwansCast Media. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, so you can check us out there as well. And I didn't ask you, James, but where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'll plug the socials. So pretty much on everything. So Facebook and Instagram, just type in Superstar Jimmy Taylor. I think Twitter's Superstar Jimmy T. I don't think I could fit the Taylor in. But I'm sure if you type in Jimmy Taylor, it'll come up with me straight away.
And what's the wrestling group, what are they?
So you've got Pro Wrestling Karnage, Karnage spelt with a K. That's more for, I'd say, maybe more adult-based wrestling content, more independent style. And, for any sort of, families, kids entertainment, you've got Welsh Wrestling as well. It's a good mix of both. So check out Welsh Wrestling as well. the wrestling scene's pretty hot now, coming out of lockdown. So, there's always going to be wrestling shows all over South Wales at the moment. So it's certainly a hotbed for up-and-coming talent.
Yeah, and if you go and watch one of his shows now, in like 5 years' time when he's on WWE or whatever it's called these days, you'll have his autograph and it'll be worth something. So just keep that locked up and away. You remember he's a Swans fan as well when he's giving it the big one up against John Cena. I don't know who's big these days.
No worries. Maybe we can make this podcast into a DVD and I'll send out some signed copies. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Anyway, okay, so like I said, been a good week to be a Swans fan. Been a good month, really. I know it's just ended, but obviously we had the derby win, beating West Brom. A little bit of a stutter against Birmingham, but you can forgive that based on the other results. We've continued now, beating Peterborough and Coventry. So Peterborough was home, Coventry away. So we'll start with Peterborough. Lee, you went to that game. I don't know if you went to that game, James. Did you manage to go or watch any of it?
No, I was in Pencoed. I was keeping an eye on my phone. But I was ready for showtime, but they wiped the floor of them.
I was in work as well, so don't worry. I was keeping up with it on my phone on the radio, watched the highlights, and I did see some of the game. But Lee, I know you're sporting your Napoli top today.
Yeah.
With your other allegiances. But
can tell I'm falling behind in my washing.
But
yeah, Napoli's out today.
Did you enjoy?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I think it was the best 45 minutes I've seen the Swans play for years. I think that first, it's up there with probably not. I know everyone says about the West Brom game tonight in the Prem. That first half in that game, but it was up there with that. It wasn't quite as good as that, but they were. Yeah, I think they would have beaten anybody in that first half. They played some brilliant stuff. So yeah, it was class.
I can't remember actually. Am I throwing you under the bus here? Did you say you actually didn't go this one?
No, I did go. Yeah,
you did go.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought you said you were on a stag do. Was that the week before?
The week before, I was here.
I see. All the time it's just merging.
Losing track with stag do's and stuff.
Yeah, everything going on. Anyway, so you went to the game. First half. Would you say? I think we've spoke about it a couple of times. That one game back in the day under Michael Laudrup where we played West Brom, and that first half where they had like Pablo Hernandez behind the striker, Routledge and Dyer on the wings, and they were all swapping. I think we consider that one of the best halves of football we've ever played. Where would you relate this in comparison to that?
It's up there. It's not as good as that. That was probably the peak of our time really with Laudrup, but I think that's got to be up there. They were so good, and I know people say Peterborough were poor, but I mean they've had some tidy results in the Championship, and you've seen how tight it is. I mean, I'm not sure what the table is like now, but there was like 6 points separating the playoffs and 17th or something at one point. It's ridiculous. So if you comfortably beat anybody in the Championship, it's a good result, and for them to just completely wipe the floor with them, that was class.
There's 6 points separating 5th place and 19th place.
It's ridiculous.
And that's after tonight's results as well.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We'll talk about them a bit later on though. Yeah, what did you make of the game then, James? Overall then of this game, of what you saw of it or heard?
I think I got to agree with Lee on that, because I remember that West Brom game. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday night, wasn't it? That I think we won 3-1.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Lukaku scored for them, didn't he?
Yeah, and my Chelsea allegiances, I remember Chelsea loan watch at the time. All the boys doing well. But no, I remember that game, and they blew them apart that first half. I think I was up there with the Valencia game in terms of the top two performances. But looking at the highlights from that, and just seeing all the stats come through as well, they passed them off the park, and it wasn't one of those where, we could be a bit laboured and a bit slow in a possession. They moved the ball fast, and Peterborough couldn't even get a sniff against us.
Yeah. So looking at the stats... Sorry, Lee, go on.
No, what I was going to say, it's what we've been asking for, really. It's kind of like we're seeing the actual style now. I think it's probably bedded in now. We've given it the time, and it's probably bedded in. I remember saying to you earlier on in the season when we drew with Hull at home 0-0 and Millwall 0-0, I was like, I really want us to see us putting these teams away, playing good football, and that's what they've done there. That Peterborough at home is a game you've got to be winning.
Yeah, and Cardiff at home. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, Cardiff at home. Yeah. So they've done it now. They're blowing teams off the park when they get it right.
Yeah, so the possession was 67% for the Swans, 13 shots with 5 on target. which, that's good. But then when you compare it to the fact that Peterborough had 2 with 1 on target, it says it all about you saying the passing it off the park and all that. And we made 779 passes with a 92% passing accuracy. So, yeah, kind of dominated. Peterborough made 379. So I think it says it all, really, in terms of the flow of the match. 2 big chances, which we apparently missed one of them. So considering we scored 3 goals, 2 of them were from chances that weren't considered big chances. But I believe Ben Hamer made a fantastic save, though, for one of Peterborough's shots, which I think at the time we were 2-0 up, so it would have been 2-1, which might have made it interesting. But let's just get into the game anyway. 3 goals. Both games this week, actually, we made a flying start to the match. This time it was Jake Bidwell scoring, and actually Peterborough didn't have a touch of the ball before the goal went in. So we kind of just kept the ball, passed it around for a little bit before, I think it was Ryan Bennett plays a little dink over the top to Led, who's running up on the right, and he just gets in behind, and just a simple pass across the face of goal, and Bidwell puts it away. 1-0, and Peterborough hadn't touched the ball until they kicked off after it. I don't really know what we can say about that. I think that's pretty much...
Just Ryan Bennett just turned into a bowler all of a sudden. Just spraying passes around. Just out of nowhere.
On him, though, I think if anyone's betting, if you just put a 5 or a 10 on him every week to get a yellow card.
He loves a yellow card, yeah.
I can't
He's just gone.
He ain't the most mobile of players, is he?
He didn't actually get a yellow card in this game. He got one against Coventry, but I think this is probably the only game I can remember recently where he didn't get a yellow card. And they always seem to be quite cynical, innit? Like someone's run past him and he just brings them down, or stops a counter-attack, or just some of them are like, did you need to do that? It's probably someone covering you. But yeah, I think he's surprising me that he's staying in the team. I said at the start I didn't think he was going to adapt that well to this style of football compared to some of the others. Like, I'm surprised Cabango is being kept out, because he came through the Swansea Academy. You'd imagine he should be comfortable with the ball, but it seems he didn't necessarily fit in, or fit as comfortably in. And between those two, I just thought Cabango would have had the more sort of like opportunity to learn or to change his style of football. But obviously Bennett is nailed on at the moment for starting alongside Norton and Manning. So I don't know what you make of that.
Yeah, I think he's got his I think that's his 3 now, isn't it? Norton, Manning and Bennett. And I keep predicting that he's going to change one of them every week, because as we were saying about Bennett, maybe he can't play like 3 games in a week, but he just keeps picking him now. I think as long as those 3 are fit, it's going to be those 3.
Yeah.
Because Cabango and like Reece Williams and even like Latibode, they're just not getting a look in now.
Well, Williams can't even get on the bench at the moment. What do you reckon about the back 3, James? Like, is there any changes you would make, or stick with those?
I do. It's been a bit of an odd one to say, like, if we look at it as a back 5, that 4 of them are full-backs.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's the whole like thing, is that you've got 4 people who are probably more comfortable out wide. Bennett's got years of experience, championship and a couple of promotions, so you kind of need that cool head. And like you said, if he is being a bit cynical, a couple of yellow cards, they're tactical fouls at the end of the day, and sometimes that is the difference between winning and losing a game, is just pulling somebody's shirt 40 yards out just for what they go on a break. Like, you do need those bit of it is the dark arts, but you do need that in your team sometimes, because that's what it can be the difference between winning and losing, rather than not getting stuck in and not giving away any fouls. So we always need to have that bit of grit and bit up here. That's all we need.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that side of the game is definitely needed sometimes, and his experience is probably what keeps him in a team more than anything, actually, perhaps.
Oh yeah, if you
reminds you of the Euro final. I think it's Chiellini or Bonucci just pulls like Saka, just gone. He's gone. But
that's
he squares that along the box. England win the Euros. You don't know, because it's on the halfway line, but he's about to go into a stride then.
Yeah.
As a defender, we've all played football with each other in the past, or stuff like that. I love.
Yeah. I play football.
Yeah.
It's called pure football these days. It's been taken over apparently by like Trundle Britain and a couple of others as well. But
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Go on the boys.
Yeah,
fair play.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't think the defence is going to change now, so I struggle.
No, I'm quite like what he's doing now. I'm trying to work it out before where, like, especially the Cardiff game, it seemed like Flynn Downs was playing centre back with obviously man marking Kiefer Moore. I saw a heat map on Twitter the other day. I think it was the Peterborough game where like Corey Smith and Carl Norton were basically the two centre halves. They're like average position. I don't know how they do it, but they looked like those two were like the centre halves, and then you got like Bennett and Manning are essentially like a right back and a left back, and then the wing backs are just wingers basically, aren't they? They're so high up the pitch, and then they can quickly drop back into a back five. So it's quite good that he's doing.
Yeah,
do you think it reminds you of
go on, James?
The old? Sorry, do you think it just reminds you of like the old way Sheffield United used to set up? Because they used to have a back five or a back three, but a lot of their defenders used to just go forward from the back, and everyone used to drop behind them. So it is like it's not something that's really you see a lot because you're expecting just the fullbacks to bomb forward, but everyone's rotating within each other. It is going to confuse the life out of teams, isn't it?
Makes it hard to defend, definitely. But yeah, it's interesting that Downs obviously got injured only for 1 or 2 matches, and now he's back available. I thought he'd slot straight back in, but Corey Smith started both games this week, and obviously dropped. He's kept his place. He's gone from the attacking role to that position as well. So good on him for learning the 2 roles and playing them individually, especially when that role he said that Downs has been doing, slotting in as a centre back, is probably a bit different to what he's been doing before under like Steve Cooper. But he's come in and he's obviously picked it up quite well.
Yeah.
Going forward, anyway, Joel Perreault obviously can't stop scoring at the moment. I think maybe he's on 10 goals now this season. I'll have to double check that.
I think it's 10.
To be precise, but well on his way to 20, which will be good. No one's near Mitrovic, mind, but I don't think we expect that. He shouldn't really be in this league. I don't think he's probably a little bit better than this league. So Ryan Manning gets the ball, runs up a little bit, like you were just saying. Actually, James goes on a bit of a run from his centre back position, bit of an opening in the middle of the park, runs up past the centre circle, and I think he plays the pass into Perreault, does a nice turn, and actually does an early shot from outside of the box with his right foot, and it goes into the bottom left of the goalkeeper. I don't think he's expecting that shot at all to come in at that angle, like inside post essentially. To be honest, I wouldn't have expected it either. And Russell Martin said in his interview afterwards that he was shocked that Joel Perreault scored on his weaker foot, but obviously everything yet to the moment seems to be goal dust and another goal. So an assist from Manning. He's just clinical, isn't he, Perreault? What have we made of his start of the season then, James?
Pretty speechless, to be honest. Considering what we're all maybe thinking of the worst at the start of the season, he's just come in and he's just blown everyone apart, isn't he? The fact they've got him for about, was it, $1 million? And, he can go to the very top by the sounds of it. He's so calm, I find. It
depends if you read John Van Zweden's tweets, doesn't it? Because I don't know if you saw what he said when we signed him, but it keeps doing the rounds. It's quite funny. That it was the worst piece of transfer business the Swans have ever done, and it was a waste of money.
Oh, wow. Well,
because he's Dutch, and he was like, he knows him because he knows Dutch football and PSV, and he's like, he's a PSV reject, what a waste, like Swans is shocking and all this. So people just keep digging the tweet up, and every time he scores, I think it ends up on Twitter basically.
Yeah, I don't know, when it comes to anyone like that who moves on from a club, it's new surroundings, new culture and all that, and if he's comfortable and he's in a team that are working around him because he's getting a lot of service. He is just calm, the way he's taking his goals as well. He hasn't seemed to panic at all. There's nothing rash. It's just, I'm in the box and that's my job. He's clinical.
Well, I mean, he's only 22, and I believe he didn't really get to the first team at PSV. He might have made a couple of appearances. He went out on loan and didn't set the world on fire. But sometimes you don't when you go on loan, because you're just there for a bit, and you're there temporarily. Just like a Wayne Routledge, how many clubs did he go on loan to, and then he comes here and he's just here forever and plays well. So you just got to find the right place, haven't you? At 22, I don't think you can write anyone off at that age, especially at that fee. It was obviously maybe it was a risky investment because you'd never know like what they're going to be like, but it's worked. I think he's probably already paid his fee, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. I didn't realise he was 22 actually until someone said it the other day.
Yeah, Liam Cullen's older than him.
Oh well, yeah. Well,
So
that says a lot. But no, I said before, it's just so good having a striker again that just scores goals. We haven't had it for ages. I know, like IU last year and stuff, but not really a striker. It just seems like when he's running, like if he's 1-on-1 with the keeper, I just always fancy him to score now. And you're always fancying him to score every game, and we haven't had that for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
I think like he's got like 10 goals, isn't he? But I think he didn't start the first 3 games of the season. I think his first start was the Bristol City game when he scored.
Yeah, well,
on the Friday night.
Martin was saying stuff at the start, wasn't he? Like, oh, we had a conversation, he knows what he needs to do, and we were like, oh shit, is he not going to fit into his team? And unless we just signed him, are we not going to see him? But obviously, that conversation's whatever was said, it doesn't mean anything, does it? We were just panicking. So 9 league goals. I think he scored 1 in the cup, didn't he? But yeah, so he's on 9. Patterson is on 6. And if you look at the assists as well, so Perot's also had 3 assists, so goal contribution is like 13. Patterson's had 4, so his goal contribution is on 10. So they're forming a good partnership. And I love the little meme that we made. That's,
I think like at the beginning of the season, obviously with the football was there, but I think like now the wins are just coinciding with those two just having a bit of a purple patch, and I don't know where it's come from, but those two are just nobody seems to complain against them at the moment.
Yeah, they drop, like Perot can drop, Patterson can push on, and he'll come in field and let obviously Bidwell go up on the left. I just think it's hard to track where they are sometimes, and especially at the start of the game when they come in out fresh and quite quick. Especially this week, it looks like that's kind of getting a little bit too much for teams, and when they finally get on top of it, sometimes the damage is already done then, as we saw with the 2 games this week. Moving on anyway, another goal for Ncham, so it was his 2nd goal for the club, and we just talked about Joe Perot, so he assisted this one. Basically, like I said, Perot dropping deep, classic example here. He drops deep, gets the ball, plays it up to Ncham, has got a bit of space to run into, basically makes it to the edge of the box and hits it with his left foot. I think it was his left foot, could be wrong with that. From the outside of the box to the bottom left corner, like a low shot goes under the keeper, good finish. And yeah, so 3-0 to the Swans, and I guess job done at that point. I've heard Ncham had a very good game, but Lee, you were at the match, so I saw somebody, or maybe it was on an article somewhere, just saying that Ncham could play in a phone box. His ball control is so good, he doesn't need much space, and he can keep the ball and make something happen. So what did you make of his performance?
Yeah, it's class. I mean, like I think when he's on it, I'm not sure about his fitness. Sometimes, I don't know, he's quiet in games. Like, come on to the Coventry game, I thought he was a bit quieter in that one. But Saturday, when he's on it, he was brilliant. He's got that thing where he beats a player before he's got the ball, with just a drop of a shoulder. Like the ball could be coming to him, he's already beating players before it's come to him. And the only other player I ever saw do that for the Swans was Kemi Augustine. He just never seemed like he was running around, but he'd always beat a man before he's got the ball. Just yeah, and he's got a bit more pace.
What a comparison!
Yeah, I know it's a bit of a strange one because they are quite different players, but it's just that, like he's already beating players before the balls roll into him.
They've won the first yard already.
Yeah, he's always won the first yard, and yeah, he's just when he's on form and he's looking sharp. He was like Saturday, he was unplayable.
It's good to hear. I don't know if you knew much about him, James, before he came to the Swans, but what have you made of him so far?
Well, yeah, I know he was a big part of Celtic, and he had the big step up to Marseille, and it didn't work out as maybe what everyone wanted. But I think he's too good for this league. I think you can see it just from like the glimpse of the quality he showed. But I think it's just he just wants to play football, and I think depending on what happens to us, that he is probably going to be on the better things, if that's in Europe or maybe with a mid-table or lower Prem team. He does ooze class, as you said, Lee. Like, he has got that little bit of finesse, but it's just, you need to be consistent. You need to work hard as well. You don't want to be a luxury all the time. But all signs to say that he's going to be good if he gets more games.
Yeah, I don't know if it is. He didn't have a pre-season, did he?
No.
Yeah,
I think coming into that stage, Martin said in his conference yesterday that normally you'd have 7 weeks or so pre-season. He's been in the job here for 12 weeks. So, I mean, if you look at the last 4 weeks of our form, so that basically after when a normal pre-season would have kicked in, our form has been really good the last 4 weeks. So it's kind of gone hand in hand with everyone, the fitness coming up, the work they would normally do in pre-season. Just unfortunate we've had to play like actual matches alongside it, and now it's showing and the signs are good. And as much as it was a bit rough at the start and we were all like patience, it's transition season, I feel like we're looking like we're a bit ahead of where I thought we would be right now. But obviously there's a long way to go. We don't want to jump the gun too much. But I think even Russell Martin might have been I think he might even be feeling we've adapted quicker than expected. And he's saying stuff that goes along with that sort of way of thinking. Anyway, Ben Hamer, I said earlier, has made some fantastic saves. Obviously, Bender started the season in goals due to Hamer getting COVID. Made another fantastic save here to keep us with a clean sheet. We'll talk about the Coventry game a bit later on, but I know he had a good game at Coventry as well. They could have equalised right at the end there, and he's saved us again. I'm surprised, because I say surprised. I didn't really know what he was going to offer us. We signed him on a free transfer in January when Woodman was still here. We kind of assumed he was signed because we didn't know that Woodman would come back or not. And it looks like another good signing that was kind of done under the radar, because he was sort of number 2 at Huddersfield, where we got him from. So I don't know what you make of Hamer and his start to Swans life, Lee.
Yeah, he's been class. I think him coming in, you changed it massively. I think you can look back to when he came in to the side from when Bender dropped out. I think it changed quite a lot. I think a lot more players in front of him became more comfortable on the ball, and I think it's grown from there. So I think his presence has been brilliant, and as you said, he's made a couple of cracking saves on the way as well. Like in the derby, we could have been 1-0 down, and he was brilliant last night against Coventry. We'll come on to that. So I think just having him there, being solid, is allowing us to play the way we want. So yeah. I think he's been massive.
I mean, looking at the other goalkeeper as well, a name you might recognise there, David Cornell, playing in the sticks for Peterborough.
Yeah.
Obviously wasn't his best performance.
Big guy.
The ball after the net 3 times. The last incident I want to talk about this game mainly is there was a penalty shout in the second half, I thought, for Lead. I don't know if you remember that, watching the highlights or in the match, Lee, but I think he should have had a penalty. He gets brought down in the box. So you were at the stadium, so what was the atmosphere there, or how did you feel at the time?
Yeah, I think it was just I wasn't too much uproar, because I think the game was done. But
when you're 3-0 up, it doesn't matter so much. But
yeah,
it could have been
0-0. But I think there's been a couple though with Laird. I don't know if he's got a reputation, because
there's one in the Coventry game as well, actually.
One in the Coventry game. He should have had one. Should have had that one against Peterborough. He should have had one against Cardiff, definitely. Yeah. So I don't know. There's been a couple of seasons, similar sort of thing as well, where he's just cutting in and he gets clipped. But
I don't understand it. I don't know whether the refs are not seeing, because he's quite quick and he's not going to ball past, and then he gets brought down, but it's very close. Like the player nearly gets the ball, but Led just about gets the ball away from the defender and then goes down. But yeah, it's a bit weird how he hasn't at least got one of them. It seems like after all our uproar last season, with everyone making a point of us getting penalties all the time, we just can't get a penalty for the life of us. I was on the Bournemouth channel yesterday, just did a quick sort of pre-match video with them, and they raised a stat to me, which I wasn't even aware of, that we have scored 0 goals this season from set pieces, and that includes penalties. So just says it all. We just can't win a penalty to save our life. Okay. Any more notable performances then, and who's your man of the match for the game? I'll ask you both. So, James?
I think I've got to go with Pro again. His performance is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? We already discussed, I think, his contributions. Yeah. So,
like you said, everyone was 8 or 9 out of 10 on that. You can't really pick one player, but
yeah.
Like you said, even I think you've seen Grimes and Norton, their passing stats are all high 90s, 120 plus. Just seeing all of it all coming through on Twitter. Can't really pick one, but I'll just go with the main one who's in form at the minute.
Grimes is getting a lot of attention from media not Swansea related at the moment, which not necessarily for his transfer speculation, but people just saying how good a player he is for the Championship, which I think sometimes gets lost among Swans fans. But he's having a good season again.
Remember last season we were trying to protect him, and everyone was saying, you're saying about Grimes, he's crap, he's rubbish, he's shit. And then now this season he's probably doing exactly what he was doing last year, maybe just in a different system. And he's getting all plaudits. Now everyone's sort of singing his praises.
Yes, certain individuals on Twitter that were adamant that Grimes was one of the weakest and must have been giving Steve Cooper favours to be getting picked every week. Is gushing over him at the moment, I saw.
Bloody hell.
And what can you say? And
interesting.
We had a bit of a reputation as well for backing him.
Well, what do we know though? What do we know?
I'm not really one for stats either, as you know. I hate looking into stats too much with football, but our stats at the moment are ridiculous. You're saying about like the passing stats, some of the players like Norton and Grimes, especially, like James said, and like our possession stats are ridiculous. So we're top of all those sort of things in the Championship, aren't we?
Yeah.
And considering the teams that are in there, like Bournemouth and West Brom and Fulham, and for us to be top in that is ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's gone a bit quiet about the whole we should have got Fosu in, we should have let Grimes go as well, I've noticed. Now we're doing well.
Yeah.
Now we're scoring as well. It seems to have gone a bit quiet there. But who was your man of the match, Leo? Any other notable performances?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. Like James said, it's hard to pick one on that because it was just a solid performance all round. But I probably would have gone with Perot as well, just for the goal, and that ball he played for Incham as well for the goal.
Yeah.
I
think it's deserved. So, we've had a really strong start to the season at home, I would say, as well, just as an end note here. But so we had 4 wins, 3 draws and 1 loss. That's our home form for the season so far. Obviously, you mentioned 2 of the 0-0s earlier, but it's really picked up since then. So that's 15 points in 8 games. 10 goals for and 4 against. So hopefully that continues for the rest of the season. And we're going to talk about an away game now where we need to maybe focus on improving our away form. Made a start of that last night. Obviously this has been recorded on Wednesday the 3rd, so it depends when you watch it. It might not have been last night. But the game against Coventry City then, Swansea away, we won that one 2-1. Said about fast starts this week, so it was another flying start with Jamie Patterson scoring again, back on the goal sheet. Across from Jake Bidwell, not cleared. You would maybe argue that Coventry didn't deal with it very well. It was kind of a bit of a scuffed clearance from one of the centre backs, but it falls to Jamie Patterson, who's kind of in a bit of a gap, bit of space in the box, waiting for something like this. I guess a bit of a ricochet, a bit of a ball that just lands to his feet, and it does perfectly. And to be fair to him, he's got to think fast, quick reactions, and he just hits it first time. It does take a slight deflection of one of the Coventry players, but goes into the bottom right over the goal, and we go 1-0 up. But I think a really good finish under the circumstances and the speed that comes to him to hit it on target, and ultimately it's resulted in a goal. So I don't know if you've seen the highlights yet, James. What do you make of Patterson?
Yeah, I've seen it. Again, somebody in form, it's not really a coincidence that it's right place, right time. It's anticipation, and we know that ball dropped to him and he hit it, and it went in. He's banging form at the minute. You can tell he's enjoying himself, and when you're enjoying your football, these situations that you're in when the ball just drops to you in the box, it's not really by coincidence. It's just by how well he's been playing, and for someone that we got for a free transfer, who's probably been a bit of a journeyman throughout the Football League, just looking at where he's been, and he hasn't really set the world alight anywhere. It's been fantastic for us.
Yeah, he's had a really good start. As I said, his starts earlier, but his goals and assists so far. But that was the first goal. The second goal came quite soon afterwards, actually. We were 2-0 up quite quick. I remember you were messaging me. I was in work last night, and we were talking about the game, and then you were like, 2 up now. And I was like, it's quite quick. It's a good start. But Joe Perot, again, carrying on his goal-scoring form. Bit of a counter-attack here. We're breaking from our own box, and Cham's playing it up on the right-hand side to Led, again, who's running through. Cuts into the box, and this is where I said maybe he could have had a penalty, because he's cut back and he's sort of facing back towards his own goal, and he lays it off to Perot. but he's brought down just as he's laying it off. And for me, if we didn't score afterwards, I don't know if the ref played advantage. I think in the commentary they said that he did actually play advantage, but it should have definitely been a penalty otherwise. But Perot, he takes a shot with his left foot, and it is a big deflection on this one, but it goes to the other side of the goal and goes in. But I guess you could come back to what you've just said, James. He's in form, he's enjoying himself, he's taking a chance, having a shot, and this worked for him regardless how it's gone in. He was on target in the first place, so he's credited with the goal. But yeah, again, Perot last night, you gave him man of the match against Peterborough. So I know you watched the game as well yesterday, so how was his performance overall on his goal?
Yeah, well, like you said before, hot on form, everything just seems to go in, then a deflection. I actually thought he was a bit not quiet, but sometimes he has games like that where he doesn't seem to appear all the time. But like, give me a striker that does nothing, and scores a goal, than someone who's like running around. But no, he does more than that, doesn't he? He does a lot of work off the ball as well, like dropping deep and bringing other players in. So yeah, it's just a performance that we're used to now. It's just it's class. I can't really say any much more about him at the moment. He's just the complete forward at the moment. He's dropping deep and bringing players in. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. There's nothing more that he can do at the moment.
Yeah, well, we had a flying start, go 2-0 up. We did concede a goal from a corner, I believe, or free kick in a corner.
Yeah, it was a corner.
Good header, to be fair. I don't think he was unmarked. I think he just beats his man in the air. And we've said before, when we seem to play this sort of game plan, and I guess it comes with the territory of having like 4 wing backs on the pitch and 1 centre back as part of your defence, but conceding from set pieces is somewhere we just generally seem to be weaker when we play this sort of football. It just seems to be part of the trend. Always was the case under the past managers who tried it. Under Steve Cooper, it seemed to be the opposite, where we were actually quite good at defending set pieces. I think even under Gary Monk for a period it was decent, if it's another manager that didn't quite play this way. But yeah, it's gone back to maybe where it was before a little bit. I think we conceded 4 or 5 now from set pieces this season, so not the worst stat, but it's definitely an area where we're perhaps vulnerable.
I will say. Sorry, go on, James.
No, it is a bit of a balancing act, because we want to play a certain style and we got to have certain players who are a bit more, dynamic. But when it comes to maybe teams are a bit more physical, a bit more height and stature, stuff like that is going to happen. I know the Cardiff game, for example, we weren't the best for the first 20-25 minutes, and with the size of the people that they do have up front, I thought we would have been in for a long day, but we turned it on eventually. But I think once we have maybe more bigger challenges against more physical teams, Stoke on a Tuesday night, as we always used to say, that's kind of not the thing anymore. But I know once we have maybe a team that's more, a physical unit, I think we may have issues if we do that, 4 full-backs in a back 5. So it'll always be something to keep an eye in the background.
Yeah. What was you going to say, Lee?
No, I was going to say, I think for the first time in this little run we've had, I thought we looked a bit overconfident. We were 2-0 up after, 13 minutes or something. And for their goal, it just seemed like, they were just trying to play out from the back, but it wasn't trying to play out the back smart. They were just trying to do all these flicks and trying to head it over someone and trying to do something you wouldn't do if you weren't 2-0 up. And obviously coming off a 3-0 win on Saturday and then 2-0 up. And then they just kept losing the ball, and then that led to the corner, which they scored. So maybe it was just a bit of overconfidence there. Yeah. Obviously with the run we're on, it's understandable, but I think that's where it sort of comes from.
Yeah. Well, obviously we managed to hold on and we won the game 2-1. But I was going to say as well, I said about us, the defending of set pieces, we don't tend to score from many. We haven't had a goal from one this season. But I would say 90% of our own corners are being played short, which not much has come from. There's been a couple of shots that have gone quite close from outside the box as a result, but still yet to score. But Jake Bidwell did it the crossbar when we did decide to play that corner into the box, and he glanced the ball onto the crossbar, so we came close to getting a third. Would have been his 3rd goal of the season. But yeah, otherwise I think people have acknowledged Coventry did, they didn't exactly play really bad, but quite intense with the pressure. Could have got something at the end of the game. We've mentioned Ben Hamer having another good save. He had a really good game yesterday as well. We managed to hold on, so kind of showing a different side of things where we can be a bit gritty still under Martin. And it's been a good turnaround in form. It's only our second win on the road. So that, like I said, we maybe need to improve our home form. It did shoot us up the away form. It did shoot us up the table with away form points. We're kind of in the middle now somewhere. So onwards and upwards there. Hopefully we can continue to get some points, even if it's draws. But looking good, I think. So, any last words to say on the Coventry game then? Let's start with you, Lee.
Yeah, I thought it was a complete away performance. To be honest, it was really good. I thought second half was a bit nervy. I thought when I was watching it, I was like, oh, we can't get a spell of possession together because they were coming hard second half. And I thought, oh my god, we just couldn't string two passes together. I was just praying for just 10 minutes on the ball like they were doing in the first half. But then, in hindsight, when I think back to the game, they didn't really trouble us. They had the one strike at the end, which Hamer saved. But apart from that, I don't think they really caused us that many problems. I think we just sort of became a bit more efficient then. Like I said, the first half, when they were trying to maybe overplay out from the back with a bit of confidence, they were just a bit more clever about it. They sort of set up quite strong. They didn't have like 10 men behind the ball. It was just knowing at what time to play out then. So yeah, it's perfect performance away from home. And I mean, Coventry, that's the first game they've lost at home all season. So it's brilliant away performance. Yeah. But when you're watching it in heat of the moment and you think, oh, they can't even pass, they can't keep the ball, and then when you look back, it was just they played really well. Coventry only had that one chance really second.
Yeah, James, anything to add?
I think same as Lee. Like I watched quite a lot of the game, going back and forth with the Champions League on yesterday as well. And like I said, we started off great, and we hung in there. We didn't get threatened too much after the goal and going into the second half. But Coventry, maybe on paper, they're not the best team, but in terms of what they've done at home and the teams that they've actually beat at home as well, it was hard for us, and it's nice to know that we can still play good football, but when we need to, we will get stuck in and we'll hang in there. And I think we do need performances like that as well. We don't want to be Swans alone all the time, but on the flip side, we don't want to be with Cooper last season, it was about a handful of games where we were just struggling, but we managed to get something out of it. So it's nice to know that we still have that there, but we don't want that to be a running trend all the time.
Yeah,
no, you're right. It was a good balance yesterday. They had, especially second half. I want to say like Hamer yesterday though was brilliant. Like he was just like sweeper keeper, being a sweeper keeper, wasn't he? Just anything that come near like our box, he was out, and he was sharp and he was brilliant. He made that good save at the end. He was brilliant again.
Yeah, you're right about their form as well at home. Their first defeat for them at home. If they had got a point or won yesterday, they would have been top of the home table. They were before the game we kicked off. With 19 points from their home matches. Their away form not so good, but they're fourth in the league overall before and after that game. So a good result for us to go there and get a win. In terms of the possession, it was one of our lower amounts actually. So we had 55%. So that kind of says, reads into what you've been saying. 9 shots for us, they had 11, both had 4 on target. But yeah, tricky match, but it was good to see us come out and find a way to win. Obviously when the team's coming at us as well, and to sort of grit it out. So yeah, very well done there. Now, obviously want to keep our expectations realistic, but I think it is worth pointing out we are only actually right now 2 points it is off playoffs. It was 1 point yesterday, but I think some of the results have changed the outlook on that one. But yeah, 2 points off the playoffs. I think Stoke won tonight today and QPR won tonight, so they've both gone into the positions that were occupied by other teams. Considering where we were a month ago, I think that's a pretty good turnaround, to be honest. 4 wins in our last 5, with the one defeat at Birmingham. It's a pretty good patch of form going into the Bournemouth game now on the weekend, an international break. I think we kind of bought ourselves a bit of no pressure against Bournemouth. Yeah.
I think so. I think, well, since the international break, this one, the Cardiff, obviously Cardiff was the first game after the international break. We've been brilliant. I mean, you look back now and you think, gutted we didn't get a win at Birmingham. That's the only, we've won every other game, haven't we? We've been,
yeah.
Unless, if I'm right.
Yeah,
we've been,
four wins and a loss.
Yeah, so I mean, that's quality form. If you string 3 or 4 wins together in the championship, you're shooting up the table, but I know we're like 2 points off the playoffs, but so are like 17 other teams in there at the moment. It's ridiculous.
Just got to keep the form going.
Tight. It's so tight in there at the moment.
Yeah, but
that's why it's so hard to spring like wins together, because like anybody beats anybody. Like Bournemouth have lost tonight now.
Yeah, but the good news is, because we were only like, apparently a couple of weeks ago we were potentially in a relegation fight based on where we were in the league. We're now 12 points off relegation, which is 4 wins. Which is so that's a massive amount in this league. The teams at the bottom, I mean, they got to sort their act out, because they look like they're in trouble of already having a lot of work to do going into the second half of the season. The likes of Hull and Derby and even Barnsley.
You're not going to say Cardiff here.
They're getting dragged in, aren't they? But I just mean the 3 that are in there at the moment, and then it looks like Peterborough and Cardiff. And I would even say 19th place Bristol City on 19 points. You know, they're 6 points clear of Barnsley in relegation, so...
Yeah, there's a gap opening up, isn't it?
There's potential of it being a lower amount of teams in a relegation battle, the way the things are going at the moment, because the teams down there, they just keep losing. All of them.
I know I probably shouldn't say about it too much, but Cardiff's form, my God, is like the last 11 games, they've lost 10 and drawn 1, and the one was the mad comeback against Stoke, wasn't it, on the weekend?
Their goal difference is minus 15.
You're losing 10 games out of 11. I mean, no doubt they'll probably turn that around, but still, it's ridiculous.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see if they turn it around. There's no guarantees.
I'm just putting that in there just in case.
I saw Tony Pulis was linked to the job. That's just more of the same if he gets there, surely.
Yeah, they'll stay up there, won't they?
Yeah, and then it'll be the same next season. Whether he'll get sacked.
They've got the following then.
I was going to say the league is just picking up now. You've got your top 3 with Bournemouth, Fulham, and West Brom, and then you've just got everyone else, and then the relegation pack. But everyone in that middle pack is literally how many points separates them is ridiculous. What did you say? Well, it was 5 earlier.
Yeah.
There's about 40.
6 points.
You could look from
12 teams.
You could look from Bristol City all the way up to, Coventry in 4th. There's like 15, 14 teams there, and you won't know until February or March where you're expecting to maybe end up, and that's a championship for you. And that'll always be like the best League 4 competition. So. You've just got to hang in there. We'll always have a top 3, 1 or 2 teams who are just dead rubber, but it's got a long way to go until we get to game 36. That's when they actually start trying to make it a reality. I remember last season, we beat Norwich start of the year, looking at closing in, and we went on a bit of a barren run. And I don't know, it's difficult. You win 2, you're looking at the playoffs. You lose 2. You're staring at the other end of the table.
Yeah. Looking at the table, so Bournemouth lost their first game of the season tonight, actually, to Preston. Lost 2-1. So, as much as they were running away with it at the top for a long time, they're now only 2 points ahead of Fulham all of a sudden. And I think Fulham... I know we put Bournemouth in our predictions at the top, didn't we? But I think Fulham might pip them, to be honest. Just on sheer, they keep winning at the moment. They've scored 43 goals.
Yeah, I think over a season, you probably back Fulham. I think Bournemouth have started well, but I think over the course of a long season.
Yeah, but they've scored 43 goals. No other team has scored more than 27.
Yeah, but there's a simple answer to that in there when you've got a ridiculous striker up front. That's way too good for this league.
Yeah. And they did score 7 tonight.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Against Blackburn, which isn't even I wouldn't have said they'd beat, even though Blackburn had a red card, 7-0, and Blackburn were home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? There's going to be those 3 at the top. Whatever, I don't know what order, but it's going to be those 3 at the top. West Brom, Bournemouth, and Fulham.
Mitrovic had 2 assists and a goal.
7-0. He scored 1. That's poor from him.
I mean,
Can't do it in the Prem though. It's just he's just in that bracket. I don't know.
He did okay last year, didn't he?
We just need a league. We need like a mini round robin league in between the Championship and the Premier League for like Norwich and Fulham and Mitrovic on his own.
He's on 19 goals and we're in November.
It's like Kevin Phillips in his 30s, like just getting team promoted and then having like 2 goals in the Prem.
Yeah.
Like or Tourette or something.
Robert Inshaw.
Literally, like Lewis Grabham.
If he carries on this rate, he'd be on 40 goals this season.
Yeah,
that's a new record, that is, for the Championship. I think Ivan Toney might beat the record last year, which Mitrovic
Tony's 31, I think.
Before. But crazy. So like a 7-0 win over Blackburn, 3-0 win over West Brom, which was their previous result, and there was 2 red cards in that game. They beat Forest 4-0, Cardiff 2-0, the game before that 4-1 over QPR, game before that they actually lost to Coventry 4-1, and then the one before that was when they beat us 3-1. But there's like goals everywhere. There's literally goals everywhere.
That's a great result. That's a great result for Coventry.
Yeah, I know.
They beat them and then we turned them over. Yeah, they just, It's
because we tired them out, it is, after they beat us 3-1, so Coventry had it easy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Gyökeres didn't score against us, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, thank God. He didn't really have a sniff, did he?
The curse is broken. Cornell didn't score, Gyökeres didn't score.
Cornell didn't score, yeah.
Cornell up for corner last minute.
Yeah, don't worry, we got low on Saturday now.
Well, if we do a triple header of not conceding, the curse is well and truly broken, but I've probably just gone and jinxed it, so low hat-trick incoming.
Yeah.
Before we move on to talk about the Bournemouth game, then some other results that are worth noting. Cardiff lost tonight against QPR, so I don't know if this caretaker boss is going to keep his job there. Forest, Sheffield United drew 1-1. Cooper against Brewster, if you like. Gibbs White scored in that game.
He's scoring all the time, Gibbs White. Every time I look at the
He'd fit into this system with us so well now, wouldn't he, man? Like,
oh my God, yeah. And speaking of someone else like that as well, Selena scored 2 the other day for Ipswich.
Did he?
Last night, actually, he scored 2.
Cardiff obviously drew against Stoke 3-3 the other day. That was quite an interesting result. Anything else much? Luton beat Middlesbrough 3-1. Birmingham City backed up their win over us by winning 3-0 against Bristol, so not the end of the world that we lost to them. They've obviously picked up as well. But yeah, not really much else. Yeah, not really much else there to talk about. Going on to the Bournemouth game then. So, before we start, I have actually got a clip from one of our associated friend channels, Cherries Red Army. We've featured on there a couple of times. So we're going to play the clip. We're going to watch it quick here so we obviously know what's been said so we can talk about it afterwards. Just got Kirk from there, just giving a bit of a match preview.
Hi Swans Cast, Kirk here from Cherries Red Army. Really looking forward to this fixture on Saturday. Swansea, you're a team in form currently. You won in midweek against Coventry away from home. Your first away win since August. And 2 more goals by Pyro and Patterson. So they're leading the way and 4 wins in 5. So that's an interesting time for you at the moment going into this game. The Cherries though, we are very much in form, unbeaten in 15. We've got Preston on Wednesday evening and hopefully we can go into the Swansea game still unbeaten in 16. But we are very solid at the back. Travers has a lot of clean sheets nowadays and that back 4 is very much building good relationships and partnerships. Jack Stacey's played 581 minutes at right back and we've not conceded in the games that he's played. Gary Cahill and Lloyd Kelly, they're building a lovely partnership. And if Jordan Zamora is fit, he's a talented, youthful player that not only is improving defensively but going forward is very effective, and I think he scored 2 or 3 goals this season for us already. In the middle of the park we'll have physicality and strength. Lerma will play everywhere likely, and Philip Billing obviously got a goal against Swansea last season in that 3-0 win, and he hasn't scored for a while, so potentially he's due a goal. I suppose the interesting thing for you guys is who plays up top. Ryan Christie will probably play off the right. he'll cut inside where he can, and he's got assists to his name already, still looking for his first goal if he doesn't score against Preston. Then I do expect Jamal Lowe to play from the left. He hasn't had many starts since he's come to Bournemouth, but he'll be knocking on Scott Parker's door because I'm sure he'll want to play against his former side. And Dom Solanke, he's currently got 11 goals of the season, and he'll want to continue that tally, trying to catch Mitrovic, and he's set himself a goal target, I'm sure, of getting to 20. So this game will be interesting. I don't think the Swans have beaten us in the last 9 head-to-head games. I don't think you've even scored in the last 6 games between the teams. So will you score? Maybe, but it is quite difficult for us to concede goals at the moment. And can you keep us out? Because we do like to score at least 2 goals at home. So if you're going to get something from this, it's all dependent on whether you can probably score 2 or more goals. It'll be an interesting game though. A second visit for Russell Martin as a manager, previously with MK Dons at the start of the season. Didn't go too well, but a different side now with Swansea. Let's see how he sets up and how he approaches this game. And I'm sure the Cherries are going to want to get on the front foot, control the ball and try and hurt the Swans early on. But good luck, enjoy the game. Hopefully the Cherries will win. I'm going for a 2-0 win, and we'll see you soon. Up the Cherries.
So I'm going to come clean. I went on his channel as well, and I actually predicted 2-0 to Bournemouth because, when I did it, I will say they were undefeated because it was before the game tonight, and that video was also recorded before the game where they've lost tonight, just to put it out there. So thanks to Kirk. So if you want to check his Twitter out, it's at Kirk Tovey, so Tovey, and his channel is called Cherries Red Army, which you can find on YouTube. But yeah, so I just think they've been really good so far this season. It wouldn't surprise me if Jamal Lowe does score, but now they've lost yesterday. Maybe I go in a little bit more positive, especially after we go and get a win at Coventry as well. But he is right with what he's saying. So let's look at some of the stats before we have a little bit of a discussion about what's going to happen. So Bournemouth were undefeated until tonight, where they had 15 games, 11 wins, 4 draws. Obviously now they've got 1 loss to go with that. They were 5 points clear of second. Now that's 2 points. Swansea have not won in 9 games against Bournemouth. Okay, so they last won there against them in 2007. It was at their stadium back when we were in League One.
God, was that when Warren Feeney scored?
It might have been.
A free kick, yeah.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, it's been a while since we've beaten Bournemouth. I didn't realise.
Got into that game as well.
I think Dennis Lawrence scored as well. God.
I'm sure it was like Feeney's last match because he was on loan, wasn't he? He scored.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like a 3-1 or something.
God, that can't be our last win against Bournemouth. That was years ago.
I checked. It was.
Hell.
I had a look.
Crazy.
6 defeats and 3 draws since then, so we didn't have a good time with them when we were in the Prem together. Obviously, we didn't win last year as well. We have actually not scored against them in the last 6 games, as he said. It is correct.
Yeah, I will say though, he jinxed everything in that video. He said, they were unbeaten. He said Billin was due a goal and he scored. So he jinxed everything there. He said we haven't won in however many games, and
hopefully
we haven't scored. So I think he's done us a favour there. He's teed us up.
Let's hope that is the case, because I'll be messaging him straight away. I'm not saying nothing tonight. I know you might watch this video. I'm not saying nothing until after we play you, but I did say on his channel that I thought they would win, so hopefully I've jinxed them as well. But what do we think then? I think maybe for me, I don't expect to see any changes to the team again. I don't know how you two feel about that. And it's going to be a tricky match. Obviously, they're going to want to bounce back after the defeat tonight. But we're going to take confidence that we've improved our away form, coming off back of 4 wins. We're scoring a few more goals. If we can get off to another fast start, that could be vital. What do you think, James?
I think if we can get a goal within first 15-20 minutes, a bit of a smash and grab, I think that would be good for us as a result. I think the longer the game is 0-0, I think Bournemouth will come into it. I think it's just one of those games you just got to enjoy the challenge, because we haven't had the best of luck against them, especially last season we struggled. And it's just what's going to happen on the day. We just got to be resilient when it comes to that. I think personally, I want to see maybe another centre back in that back 5 just for this game, because there's going to be a lot of pressure and we're probably going to need a bit more awareness.
Who'd you bring in?
I drop Manning probably. I know he's been he has improved quite a lot, and he's enjoyed himself wherever he's played in the team. But I'm looking at I'd probably put Cabango in for Manning.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Any other changes or?
Other than that, no. I'm happy with the three of with Smith, Grimes, and Netchum. But I don't know. Is Flynn Downs 100% yet, or?
It's maybe him for Smith, and is the change you might see, or I don't know what Uncham's fitness is like, because it could be again. Smith keeps his space, and
because we're playing a quite top team. I don't really want so many luxuries on hand. Like I said about maybe the fullbacks who are playing in the middle, committing on runs going forward. I think we can maybe sacrifice that for at least 60 minutes of the game if it's still 0-0. And I probably want another body who I know is going to put a shift in.
You say
like
that,
somebody
but
like
Cabango
Downs.
turned into Messi the other day when you were running forward from that position. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those, we go with the way that we have been playing all season, and that's attacking all. You flip a coin and say, well, if we be a bit more reserved, we may need to make those changes. But that's not my job. That's the manager's job.
Yeah, Lee.
Yeah, I don't know really. I think it's going to work against us that they've lost that game in midweek because you go unbeaten for so long and then are you going to lose 2 in a row? I mean, it does happen, but I think that's probably a good reset for them after losing tonight. But I don't know. I was quite excited. I was quite excited for the game us to go up against. It's the best test we can have now. Probably the most informed team in the league. And we've been playing well as well, so I'm a bit undecided because we could have another sort of scenario like the Birmingham game because the 3 games in the week with 2 away games I think might stumble us. I don't know if Bennett and Norton and that and can play the 3 games in the week again. I mean, it was obvious in that Birmingham game the players were tired, and Russell Martin said it himself, didn't he? He said there was too many games in a week for some players, so. I think he will have to make changes, but whether he does or not, I don't know. Maybe he'll want to stick with the winning side. But then, like Kirk said, if Lowe is going to play on the left, where you've got Laird obviously pushing right up, and then Bennett is kind of your right back. I don't fancy Lowe. I don't fancy Bennett against Lowe in that channel.
Probably get a yellow card by bringing him down.
Yeah, so I think there's a card in that area.
I just can't believe we let him go for so cheap.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, I think they'd done it because they knew they'd get Obafemi in, didn't they? But we've already.
They sold Danjuma, who probably had identical numbers to Lowe, but I know Danjuma's younger, and they sold him for like 24 million. And the fact that they've replaced him with someone who costs 1.5, I'm just at least give us like 8 or something. It's just, I think I like Jamal though. I know a lot of people were with me, but a bit frustrated with him throughout last year, but he did those 2 goals against Cardiff. But the fact that we let him go for so cheap, and a couple of other players were let go for similar amounts. Was a bit of a sour taste.
I don't think we've been good at getting value for our players since Trevor Birch has left, personally. But
yeah,
but like if you're saying if you replacing someone from the same league and you've sold them on for like 25 million. It'd be like, if he's worth 25, this person's worth 20. Like that'd be like basic business. Yeah. Just to understand how that.
Well, maybe happened. You need to go and have a meeting with Julian.
It's just basic economics, isn't it?
In fact, send him down to send him a personal invite down to the next wrestling match and give him VIP and then give him a little bit of a lecture after. You can give him an autograph as well.
I'll use my degree on him instead, not my physical traits.
He's a bit like I can imagine Julian Winters being a bit like an Eric Bischoff. Just like if anyone out there is a wrestling fan.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I'm
so
more the Paul Hagen guy.
Let me put you on the spot before we end up then, James. What are you going to say score-wise for this game?
My heart's saying 1-0 Swans, but I think I'm going to go with 2-1 Bournemouth.
Lee?
I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to, not too positive. I'm going to say 2-2. I think we'll have a goal fest.
Jamal going to score for either of you?
Yeah, he's going to score 2.
I don't think he's going to start. He hasn't really started that much, has he?
No, he started today, didn't he? So I think.
Yeah, and they lost.
Well,
There you go.
dropped. Well, it would be interesting to see what happens anyway. Obviously, we're going to go into the international break, so we'll try and get an episode of some sort sorted during the break. Probably do one for the 2 weeks that we're off, perhaps, rather than like 2 for the 2 weeks. Probably just do it to one. But yeah. Anyway, cheers for coming on, James. Is anything else you want to say about your wrestling and any shows upcoming or whatever, or remind everyone where they can find you and where they can buy tickets?
Well, yeah. Well, pleasure for having me both on, the pair of you. I'm hopeful I'll come on here again in the near future. But yeah, if you want to follow me on the socials, just type in Superstar Jimmy Taylor, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Keep an eye on Pro Wrestling Karnage, spelt with a K. If you want to see where I'm going to be over the next few months, as well as Welsh Wrestling. And yeah, if anyone wants to, give me a follow, give me a message, talk all things football and wrestling, I'll talk for days about the both. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, and cheers for coming on, and thanks again, Lee, for returning, even though you've got the wrong colours on today with the Napoli cut, but we'll forgive you. But,
Napoli are doing well, so
are they over the top, aren't they?
Yeah, they're flying at the moment.
Flying.
Yeah.
They usually bottle it by the end, so see if they can change it this year. But on that note,
sorry.
Go on.
I need to add one more thing, sorry guys. Yeah, next show, 13th of November at the Talbot. It's called No Regrets. I'll be on there, and I'm sure the match card will probably be released in the next couple of days to see what sort of challenge I'll have to face as the superstar. Thank you.
Nice.
Needs to keep his title or whatever you won the other day.
I won revenge. Payback.
Fair enough.
No title yet.
But yeah,
I'll bring
on that
soon.
note, cheers for coming, guys, and we shall see you in the next one. So have a good one.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to click the like button to help us grow. To keep up to date with all of our new uploads, hit the subscribe button and push the bell to ensure you are notified of all of our new videos. As always, engage in the comments and let us know your opinions on what we discussed today. And if you want to support us directly, check out our new merch where you can find some awesome Swansea related t-shirts.